What is up, everyone? So today I want to go over active communication skills that could save your life. And what even brought about this topic, I was speaking with my videographer and he wanted to learn how to fight. And so I was going to help him with that process. And what's interesting, it's sometimes surprising how little people can know about basic communication skills. And so I want to go over these communication skills to help you move forward on your journey. And what started our process? Body language. Body language is absolutely vital when it's coming down to communicating. And I'll give you an example. So he wanted to learn. My biggest thing with fighting is you learn how to fight so you don't have to fight. When I fight as a professional athlete, I am signing a contract and it's an agreement between three parties because there's the promoter as well. And two people are agreeing to get into a cage to fight. So that is an honorable way to fight to me. Any other than that, I'm not looking to fight with anybody. It makes no sense to do. Two people end up getting hurt. Sometimes you can get killed. And it makes no sense to do in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So he comes up to me and he goes, yeah, so if I go up to someone and I'll say like, hey, I'm not looking to fight. I go, that's the worst thing you can do because your body language is getting big. And when you get big, it doesn't matter what's coming out of your mouth. People are seeing the bigness. Now, if you get smaller like this, you bring your hands down, you keep your palms up and you back away. And you make sure you're not cornered in any wall. You say, hey, I'm not looking to fight with you. And the way that you speak, now all of a sudden your language plays a role. The way your physical body is showing up plays a role. Now, what's really cool about these skills I'm going to be teaching you, they work both in fighting and they work in life. In life, if you are getting big, if you are getting excited, if you are getting pumped up, that's going to pump other people up. If you're getting down, if you're getting frumpy, if you're speaking soft, if you're even like shaking and anxious, you're going to get people anxious and nervous and freaked out. And so practice working with your body language as much as possible. And the best way you can practice with working in your body language is just being really aware of it. Every time you go into a situation where you're looking to communicate, be very aware of your body language, and you can change it as you become more aware, and you can practice it because you become what you practice consistently. And so the second one is energy and cadence. And what's interesting, it goes hand in hand with body language because if your body language is high and up, your energy is probably going to be higher and your cadence is going to be a little bit faster. And if your body's like down and low, your energy is probably going to be a little bit lower. And your cadence is probably going to be a little bit lower. Being able to be flexible in all of them are very, very important. It's important to be flexible because people are different. Some people have higher energy and some people have lower energy. So you just need to figure out how to kind of mirror what each individual is doing. Because if you can mirror it, you tend to make them feel more comfortable. People, birds of a feather flock together. People are much the same way. If you can speak their language, if you can understand their energy and understand their cadence and copy that, it's going to make them feel at ease. And when people are at ease, communication becomes much easier on both ends. And the third piece that I want to talk about is active listening, but there's also active looking. And we all know the importance of active listening. Well, I don't want to say we all know. I know there's some people who are really into this kind of stuff and some people not so much. This might be your first time watching this video. So I will say this. Active listening means listening really, really intently and understanding what that person is saying and even why they may be saying it. When you can actively listen and understand what it is they mean by what they're saying, it makes it easier. I'll give an example. If you use a word like take ownership, right? Some people can see that in a positive sense, and others could see it in a negative sense, depending on how the word's being used. So if someone does something that didn't give them the outcome they wanted, and you tell them to take ownership, taking ownership can mean, okay, looking within and understanding like, okay, this happened and I can change this. Or taking ownership can mean I'm a bad person and I've made a mistake and I should feel awful. It depends. Language is very complicated. And so when we can actively listen and understand like, well, what did you mean by that? Or what did you mean by this? And I always say, be the curious expert. You're an expert in your own perspective because you've always lived in your perspective. And the same is true for everybody else. They're an expert in their perspective. But when you become the curious expert, you know what your perspective is, and you're trying to understand their perspective in the best way that you can. You're not saying you are their perspective. You're just doing your best to understand their way and understand their language. Because even though we speak English or speak Spanish or speak French or whatever it may be, there's variables behind what each word really means. And when we can understand, well, what do they mean by they are angry? Something as simple as that. I am angry about this. What is angry to you? What and why are you angry about this? Because people get angry for different reasons too. Even if they are angry about a specific topic that makes sense, really dive deep, really understand. And active looking. So when I talk about active looking, okay, everyone can talk the way they want to talk. Everyone can say whatever they want to say. But active looking means look for the patterns of what the person's doing. Look at how they show up. Because if they're saying, I'm a person of integrity, and time and time again, it's not showing up as them being integrous, odds are they're not going to show you any integrity. And if you came back and said, what the heck? This guy said he was full of integrity. Look at the pattern. So that's where active looking comes into play. I bring all of these up and I talk about saving your life because I had a friend who was a fighter, a high-level fighter. He fought in the UFC. He knew what he was doing. And he ended up picking a fight with the wrong guy. And here's the thing. The wrong guy wasn't a better fighter than him. He hit him with a car. He hit my friend with the car, and now he's not with us today. And so in life, it's always important to know when to and how to communicate effectively, because you'd never know who you're going to communicate with. Not everyone's playing the same game that you're playing. And when you realize that, it's important to not unnecessarily trigger people or even intentionally trigger people because you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know how they're going to show up. They may try and hit you with a brick, with a bat, with whatever. And so when we can effectively communicate and really take the time to see eye to eye, the odds of having situations like that diminish quite a bit. You know, I've never been in a fight outside of fighting as a professional. Never actually been in a fight. I have been jumped before, but that's another story. And I do bring it up to my communication skills, my ability to bring a situation down. That's another thing that I want to talk about. When we're talking about energy, I tend to maintain a very calm energy, whether I'm triggered or not, because my trigger doesn't make the situation any better. If I'm heated, if I'm angry, and I'm just, it's going to make them feel more heated and angrier, even if they're not heated and angry. Give you an example. Have you ever been driving and someone cuts you off, and if you honk at them and flip them off, they're probably going to do the same thing to you. And they were in the wrong. They cut you off, but we're emotional people. And when we're emotional, we tend to react instead of respond. And what I want to do on this journey, I want to get as many people responding as effectively as possible. And so the best way to respond as effectively as possible, I am not into fake it till you make it, but I am into practice being your best you. And sometimes practicing being your best you is when life doesn't give you what you were expecting, but you can respond accordingly for the best of the situation, for yourself and for everybody else. So I hope these tips help you out on your journey, and keep doing amazing things. Remember, there is greatness in you. It will always be in you, and you just have to practice it. Hey, what's up, Gemma? How you doing? Hey, Shannon. Good morning. Let's see. And I am sorry, it shows Facebook user. I don't know why it does that. What's up, Adele? Let's see here. We got big problems. But yeah, so every time I finish the recording, I'm going to go through my recording, and then I'll read through some of the comments, and I'll chat with you guys, because I know when you're going live, you got to chat with the people that you're going live with. That just wouldn't be fair. And Adele says Romero. I don't know why he said that. I actually lost to a fighter named Romero. Maybe that's what he's talking about. He got me good too. He really got me. And let's see. I'm not very good at reading people. Yeah. So if you're not good at it, just know that you can practice it and get better at it. Just like anything, the more you practice it, the better you get at it. Show up all the time. And good morning to you, Shannon. And I will speak with you soon. Agree with what you're saying. Thank you. Drives me nuts when my husband keeps his cool while I'm upset. I mean, long term, I'm thankful for his steadiness, but just want to stay on the same page with me. Yeah, I think that's a very true thing. So sometimes when a person is feeling heated and the other person's calm, it can actually make the situation a little more tense. And usually it's still better on the long term, because if both people are fired up and angry, it doesn't help the process at all. I did read a book on Buddhism, and it talks about when a person's feeling heated or angry, they would always have a line that would have them both walk away from the situation. So they used in that book, hey, I think there's key lime pie in the refrigerator. And that was the trigger to say, let's walk away from this and come back and communicate when we're actually in a calmer sense. Because we are emotional. We are emotional. And when we deny what we are, things can get dangerous, and they can get dangerous quick. I always talk about it's important to practice willpower. I'm huge about willpower. And part of the reason I even fought was because of willpower. I want to constantly increase my willpower. And I know it's a muscle just like anything else. But at the same time, to deny the human side of who you are and deny and say, I'm not going to let any emotion ever affect me no matter what, you're setting yourself up for failure. And so when you can say things like that to kind of walk away from a situation, come back together, reconvene, and have a conversation, it makes it easier for both you and them. So keep practicing your communication skills. I'm going to go over it one more time. So it is body language. Know what your body language is saying and be very aware of it. Then we're talking about energy and cadence. How are you showing up in the conversation? What energy are you bringing? And how is your cadence? Are you confident? Are you are you super, super anxious and freaking out? What are you bringing to the table? And then active listening, right? Listen closely. What do their words mean? What do they mean by what they're saying? How are they showing up? And active looking. What are their patterns? How do they respond? What do they actually do? Because the saying part, that is the easiest part in the world. And I love how everybody says like, oh, this is so cliche, but well, everything's cliche because everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. Like that's not to BS anyone, but that's the truth. Like since everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing, I'll give you a perfect example, my power of 6. Like anyone can say like, yeah, you got to be confident. You got to believe in yourself. You got to have a plan. But the following part is another thing altogether. Like, all right, like, yeah, you're talking the big game, but are you following this thing? So that's my miniature rant. Yes, active listening. Everyone can talk a big game, and everyone does talk a big game. They're going to communicate and say, I've done this, and I can network, and I can blah, 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 blah. Active looking. Okay, are they actually doing it? Are they actually showing up the way that they say they're showing up? Who are they? Look closely. Be aware. And learn. Keep learning the lessons that you need to on your journey. And I hope you all have an amazing day. What's up, Rick? How you doing, brother? That's right. We put in the reps. That's what it's about. I was just talking about cliches. It's not a cliche when you put in the reps because only a small percentage actually does the things that everybody says you should be doing. Think it to you, or what? How did it go? As a man thinketh, he becometh. That's true 100% of the time, every single time. So who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in your journey? And how do you want to show up? Think it, say it, act it, baby. All right. You all have an amazing day, and I will talk to you later.